When can we call each other out on poor image?
Well, y'all just leading me straight into this stuff, man. Golly.
JR, let's start with you.
When can we call each other out on poor image?
Yeah.
I don't think you can walk up to a stranger. I think that you have to have some form of relationship with that person.
Not a stranger. So I'll add that caveat.
Okay.
Not a stranger, but your buddy.
Uh-huh.
When can you call him out?
I think you could call them out when you've been leading by example. So if you move in a certain way, and that way that you move is respected, then I believe that you will have an influence on like what he does. So for example, because the way I move, I believe that with certain people I have an influence on. It may not be everybody. If somebody is above me, then I'm still learning. But if I've surpassed someone else as far as the things that I'm having, the lifestyle that I'm living, I believe that if I tell my man something that he will listen. And so often there are some times where you may say something and it might get offensive, but then they may sit on it for a few and then come back and say, okay, yeah, you might be right. My image needs to change, or maybe I can't get in certain doors if I alter this.
Okay. So it's not so much calling them out, but it's more your image and your presentation should change their mind.
Well, if they seeing results. So I have people that view me, or they say, out of everybody, like, you're the one that's doing decent. So I think it has to be like, I often had this conversation with Anton, and Anton gets criticized because he leads with the things that he have, and he said that if he didn't have these things, that like, would people listen to him? And he's when it comes to complete strangers. So when it comes to somebody that just off my personal experience, I believe that who I am as an individual, what I do, like what I'm doing, like what they see that I have, the type of person that I am, I have elevated, and I think that if they're not there yet, that they would be more inclined to listen to me, because I'm already ahead. I'm already have access to opportunities that they don't have. So it's not that I'm just telling them, it's like they're seeing me in a different light. They're seeing me different. They're seeing me better, and not because I'm in competition with them, but because of all the hard work that I put in.
I like that. Maddie.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good point when you lead by example. But I was thinking prior to that, because I was thinking when you know the person and not when they're strangers, and then you say, well, okay, we're only talking about when you know the person. I think that any time is a good time, and maybe that's just the type of person that I am. But I feel like if you know the person and you're going somewhere with that person, there's a certain way to do it. Don't say, you look horrible, change yourself. But, kind of encourage that person and be like, hey, we're going to go out. It might not be a lot of places, but get ready, feel good. Let's just, be presentable. There's a certain way to talk to that person about it. You don't have to be rude. But I think that whenever you've established a friendship or a relationship, it's a good time to bring it up if you feel strongly about it.
That's good. E-Black?
It goes back to what I was saying, is that, we've gotten so scared of each other that we're just really not able to even call each other out. I mean, I've been called out on many a times. I'll give you one example where my daughter was going through her Frozen days, where she had an Anna Elsa doll. She had a white doll and another white doll with red hair. And then a woman came up to us and was like, don't have that girl with that white doll.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's how society is. So when I hear fear-based things in which we say that we cannot approach each other or don't do it, it's like, no, we're supposed to do this. This is our generation to make a stance for who we want to be and what we want to do. And But the main thing is you do it with relationships, leading with kindness. You don't just say, "Hey, man." Da, 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 da. You give a conversation, you create rapport, then you start leading on to things that you may see. That works better than just flat out, "Hey, man, your pants on baggies." Talk to the brother. Say, "Hey, how you doing, man? Where you from? What's going on?" You create a rapport first, then they understand and respect you. But we got to get out of this mindset that we cannot correct each other on nothing. That just because you're a stranger, that you're not a family member or you're not a brother to us. That's the problem in our community, is that we're no longer bonded together on any part. And I'm not like some old person that's like, go up and meet with everybody and talk to everybody type of person. But all I'm saying is that, we have a mentality now in our back community that is just really not helping us get any more closer to each other, because we're just not, if we're not willing to celebrate our victories, then we can't correct our downfalls either. So, we can
That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good, honestly. That shifted my mentality a little bit, not gonna lie to you. That was good. That was a good point. Because obviously you got to step up to someone with a level of understanding before you can actually change their mind and how they're presenting themselves.
Yeah.
But okay. Speak. Preach, bro. Preach. You get that. You'll get that. All right?
Hey, that's my first one. That's my first one.
You did good. You done good, got kid. 3. You done good.
But listen,
you're done good, kid. All right. Melissa?
I agree with like a lot of points that you guys have said. I think it's just, and I've seen it like firsthand. I just feel like, and it's not only like, again, like I keep on saying, like, because I'm multicultural and stuff like that. Like, it's not only the Black community that does it to each other. It's like Hispanic, it can be like Muslim, it can be Jewish, it can just be any type of like minority group or a group that sees themselves as a minority. I just feel like they're so used to having their own people be so hard on each other, where a lot of times, like, even though you may not feel like it's coming from a place of judgment and you're just trying to like better each other, they see it as another form of attack. So that's why I feel like also we need to open the lines of communication and, talk to each other and be like, no, we don't mean it in that way. We mean it because we want each other to like thrive. And I feel like a lot of that message, especially when we say like certain things, like it triggers people. Like words mean things. And it's like, even though you may not see it that way, it's like also it can become like a political thing of people, like it triggers their mind of like back in the old days of what happened. Like you never know, like people have different sensitivities, and it depends. It's not how you say it. It's not what you say. It's how you say it and
so
how you deliver.
You have to be thinking about how the person is going to feel about what you say. Essentially, what you're saying.
I'm saying like what E Black was saying, it's not like, necessarily like what you're saying, it's how you say it, because it's like I can say something and he can say something, but the way that I say it can be completely different of what he's like, how he says it or how it comes across. So I feel like, especially like now, people like hold on to like certain words or like verbiage of like what you're saying. So it's just like people are very like careful of what you're saying to them now. It's not like, oh, we can't get away with a lot of the ways that people used to say things back in the day. So it's just like trying to just be careful of trying to, actually convey your message in the right way, so they can actually get it where they know that you're not trying to offend them. That's where I'm trying to go. And that's where like I feel like we all need to like have, again, like an open line of communication, so we can like actually thrive as a community and as a unit, instead of like making it seem like, oh, we're trying to like tear each other down when we should just be a united front. That's what I'm saying.
Good point, Melissa.
You almost said Maddie. Yeah, I caught that.
Relax.
You were like,
relax.
You're muted,
Melissa.
JR. I think everyone went on this one, right?
Yeah.
I liked everyone's points. Everyone's points was pretty clear cut. I think we were all pretty much on the same point. You gotta know how to actually say it when you're approaching a stranger. And to a friend, obviously, you shit on them real quick, you know?
But it's
You gotta do.
also our responsibility as adults now to do that.
Yeah, and that's a good way to lead right into the next question.
Oh man, I'm like,
You're on a roll. You got
fire,
two.
man.
You got two today. Can he get a I don't care? JR?
Yeah, he get one.
Yeah.
I don't care.
There it is. Awesome. All right. So, does poor image keep you from maturing? E-Black, since you're on a high, start us off.
this is one of those things that when I used to teach in Oakland for like 2 years in front of young men for in a nonprofit, right? And we talked about it all the time, is that the things that you eat are actually the things that come out. The things that you put on your body are the things that you represent. They seep into you, the things that you say and everything that you do. So, you know, maintaining things that are detrimental that are death, destruction, and not really advantageous to growth, they will seep into your body and they will prevent you from seeing a great path in life. You know, we all go through our punk rock phase. I guess some people go through their punk rock phases. They wear the skull and bones, and we all go through our phases. But I think that the overall image is to not be the image that you are representing. Have some type of self-image that is positive, and make sure that image is for developing a better person, not just developing any old person. And that's really all I got to say. Like sometimes people have an image that they want to be like a famous drug using rapper that just womanizes women. Well, you're going to end up being that. You know, you got to have good positive imagery and then start working towards that imagery. But don't work towards negative imagery, because you'll work towards that negative energy.
You lost me a little bit.
I know.
Right? We'll come back. We'll come back. All right?
Give me one of those
Hold on.
Look, y'all, between the both of y'all can give me some.
There it is.
What? I missed it. Went over my head.
Well, Melissa, you'll get this.
No, I'm trying.
That's for you. That's for you. Melissa, you want to go next? Does poor image keep you from maturing?
No, I agree with that sentiment, because it's like, especially when you surround yourself with other people that enable certain type of behaviors or don't call you out or say certain things, it can prevent a lot of growth when it comes to progressing in life. And I completely agree with that, because, we live in a society now where image is everything. And it's I've always been taught, and also that's why, slowly but surely I've had to, stay away from certain friends or friends groups, because how the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. And it's you don't also want people to think that you're a certain way just because you're hanging out with somebody that's a certain way. And I know it's again, that's my catchphrase of the day. It sucks to say, but people don't know you from a can of paint. So it's also about your impression. So if you're hanging around somebody that's crazy, they're oh, well, she must be crazy or he must be crazy because they're hanging out with that person and they're acting a certain way. So that person must be the same way. And I know you shouldn't care what other people think, but again, impression is everything. And you never, and again, like I said this before, you never know when you're in a certain situation who you can meet or where it's going to take you in your life. So
Yeah.
it's like, I also like and when you're young, you really don't think about that. But as you get older, you do think about that and you try to teach like the next generation that that's how the world perceives things. And you don't want to block a blessing just because you're not thinking correctly, you know? So it's just like especially more than ever, like you have to be careful of, you know, the type of aura or the type of people that you surround yourself with. And I agree with that 100% when it comes to a lot of things.
Okay. JR?
Does poor image keep you from maturing? I don't think that poor image keeps you from maturing as an individual, but I think that it does keep you from maturing on what you can possibly do when it comes to the world. I think that image is important. Um, I think that how you carry yourself um, can dictate how people perceive you, how seriously they take you, how how far they're willing to look at you as a leader, as a coach, as a role model. So I believe that image does affect how you move in the world. I believe somebody can be mature, but if they don't get their image together, then it's going to hold
Huh?
you back.
So you could wear a suit but still be an immature person.
Um, yeah, because I mean, like they'll see you, but once you get to speaking, then it's just like, oh, what is the guy talking about? So, um, I think it's a start. I mean, if somebody is comes from, again, we've been speaking about this all night. If they didn't grow up with a good education and they had these good habits and they put on a suit, I think that they will at least get the look. So I think it goes hand in hand, but I believe it's a start and people will take you a little bit more serious when it comes to your image. I mean, there are a lot of people that don't speak properly, but the fact that they started. So when you put a suit on, that's a start. When you put on a dress and a makeup on the interview, that's a start. At least you're trending in the right direction, and you will get a little bit close, or if not, the actual job. So I think that the image is very important when it comes to how people perceive you in life.
Okay. Maddie?
I don't necessarily think that poor image keeps you from growing up, but I do think that having a good image can build your confidence and change the way your personality is. So I think that it's good to have a good image to help you, like JR said, go get in the right direction. I don't necessarily think having a poor image will hold you back, but like he said, people might take you a little more serious and you might take yourself more serious as well. You act different when you dress different. And it's kind of like when you wake up and you don't make your bed. Like, you just got to take care of stuff to keep you from going in that bad direction again. Because if you don't make your bed and it's messy, likelihood is you'll lay in it again. If you don't get dressed and get ready for your day, likelihood is you're not going to want to do a lot of things. And I just think that it's, like he said, it goes hand in hand. You've got to understand what a good image that by having a good image, there's certain things that come with that. I mean, I don't think there's too many times where I dress nice and put on heels and feel like I'm going to be unproductive. So I just think you got to understand that you're helping yourself, you're helping your opportunity, and it's better to prevent yourself from going in the wrong direction.
Okay. That was good. That was good. Good
Man,
answer.
can we get that bell? Drop that bell on her, man. Golly,
You
she
think
worked
so?
hard on that one, man.
Let's fight. She'll get that. Okay.
Come on.
All right. I got a question for you guys. So, do you think if we're going off of image, do you think if we all took our image a little bit more seriously, no matter what community, the community itself would actually start being a little bit more productive?
I think the image it has. That's an interesting thing. I think what we used to do is we used to in the community put forth an effort on what the image was. We stipulated what the image was. We can't just keep following image because they'll just keep changing the standard. You know, if you ever get designer clothes, what do they say? We don't want you wearing our clothes no more, right? Tommy Hilfiger was the perfect. Tommy Hilfiger was the perfect example. It was upscale clothing. We started wearing it. Now, next thing you know, Tommy is ghetto. So it's not about whether we bring ourselves up in image. We have to have a method or a message behind the image that we're bringing towards everybody, and have it stand on something that is beneficial for us, not just doing it.
Well, I think that's different when it comes to a brand because, I mean, I definitely see what you're saying in that aspect, but I don't think dressing well collectively necessarily means you have to purchase from certain brands. I mean, I don't have any brand clothes, and I love me some heels from Ross or whatever, and you make it look good, you present it in the way that you can. But I see what you're saying about the brands issue, but I do think that you can dress well collectively from some selections from the cheaper end.
So back on these heels things, right? So what? But yeah, but I mean, we all get what we're talking about, right? What I'm talking about is essentially, you know, dressing well is a thing that we all should try for, but usually they change the ball on what dressing well is.
Well, I don't even think it's not so much on like because to Maddie's point, it's not so much of the idea of like Tommy Hilfiger or dressing well. We're like, think about back in the day. You like back when we still had nothing, we'd always used to put on our best clothes to walk out of the house. They weren't brand name clothes, but they were still our best clothes because we always want to be presentable when we walked out of the house. And that's back when families were still strong, back when we had a good family core like unit. So that's why I'm saying it's if we started taking our image a little bit more seriously, if we looked in the mirror and could actually stomach the person that we see in the mirror, would we actually start making better decisions for ourselves? As a community, would that actually shift?
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I agree with what you guys are saying. Like, I just
thought you were throwing up gang signs.
She was leaving church.
I was like, wait a minute, I have a point. Hold on a second. Okay, no, I agree with what you guys were saying because it's like when you feel good, and especially when you know that you look, it doesn't matter. To be honest, I don't have to have name brand stuff. Like I wear my mom's like custom jewelry, and she's no longer with us. God rest her soul. But like, I get compliments on it every single day from different types of people, and I always say, "Oh, thank you. My mom would be very like glad that you said that." And it doesn't have to be real. Like it's just whatever you make about what you have and how you present yourself. But that being said, like, I mean, we can all, like, in a perfect world, like, yes, like what Clement was asking, like, you know, if we hold ourselves to a higher standard or we look the part or we dress the part or whatever, like, do we feel like it's going to make everything better and like we're all going to come together as a community? In a perfect world, yes. But there's always going to be certain people, that it doesn't matter how good you look or how well you're presenting your community. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. Like, people are always going to say something. So it's just like, I was even telling my cousin like this today. I was like, I know we have like, we feel we have like so much responsibility when it comes to a lot of things, but to be honest, at the end of the day, you have to live your life for yourself. Like, you can't live your life, constantly worrying about like, oh, like what other people are going to say. Like, trust me, and I'm a female, and I feel like all females, like all people in general, go through this, especially like as a female. Like, you go through what you think, like, oh my God, if I do this, this is what society is going to think of me. But I also feel like it's important to have like some like sense of self, reliance and like respect in your own self, where it's not something that's easy to cultivate, but it's something that's attainable for you to have in yourself, and not have to rely on other things to be able to get there. Because it doesn't matter how much right you're doing, people are always going to say something.
But
So that's just like, I want people to like also to like realize that part as well.
Okay.
Can you ask that question one more time? The last question.
Yeah, I said if we started what was the question? If we if we actually started as a community, started presenting ourselves well, like actually wearing clothes so that we're happy with the people that we actually see in the mirror, would that affect our choices, and would that maximize the community as a whole, whatever community it is? Because if image matters and the image dictates the kind of choices we're going to be making, would it be smarter for us to start caring about it a little bit more, I guess?
Well, one of the things, I have people that reach out to me, and I kind of give them advice as far as building a brand and YouTube channel and so forth. And one of the things that I just think that image is just one piece of it. I think that you have to be consistent. You have to also actually have to be seeing like some results. So there's a combination of things that come into play with it. I don't think image is gonna just do it. It's just a piece of the pie. But once you start putting all these things together, let's just say you have 5 things, and out of the 5, you're doing 3 of them. Like, you're gonna slowly but surely see the difference. You're going to see the difference within yourself, and you're going to also see the difference on how seriously people are taking you and how they're viewing you. So if image is one of them, if you being consistent is another, if you engaging within the audience is another, then you're going to see the results. I don't think image alone is it's a start. It's just a piece of the pie. So I just think that people have to look for more than just image.
Okay. But to start, well, I guess my main point was that we're just talking the average Joe, not someone trying to start a YouTube channel, someone who was just kind of like been lazing around and wants to actually take himself a little bit more seriously. If he can actually put on a uniform and look in the mirror and be a little bit happier with who he sees in there, he'd probably make a little bit more of an informed choice throughout his daily life.
No.
Good point.
No, it is a true point, because like, I know for myself, like, I have to wear a uniform every day for work, but just like any little thing that can make you feel better, like whether it's doing my eyebrows or the eyeliner that you see, like, it makes me feel, more like myself, so I can put like my best foot forward. And I know it might sound ridiculous to other people, like, really, like, whatever, but it's just like, whatever, it's always about like the little things in life that make you feel more like yourself or human, or makes you feel like, okay, I look a certain way or I feel a certain way because I did a certain thing, to put your best foot forward. And I think that's what we're all saying at the end of the day.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, guys. This has been very fun. Thank you guys for joining me. All right,
I appreciate it.
JR, you have been awesome.
Thank
The
you.
man that motivated me to actually start my channel.
Man,
So
I appreciate that, man. You're
it's
doing good, man.
I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
So, do you guys have any closing thoughts? Oh, obviously, to everyone here, to anyone watching, everyone here is to some level a content creator. JR, obviously, give a shout out to your channel, please, and what you do on there.
Okay, yeah. If you guys not familiar, but I am the person that runs Lapeef Let's Talk, which is actually like the Lapeef network. So we're doing great things on there. We actually have Courtney has a show on there. Kay has a show on there as well. And we are looking for future potential people that to work with in the future. But we're doing something special, man. We're trying to bring value to the community, bring value to the world, to the YouTube world.
No. Why did you have to cut off now? That's heartbreaking, man. That's heartbreaking.
He left with the ghost of P. Real.
JR, you're killing me, bro.
I thought he was in deep thought, man. I thought he was in deep thought. I was like, okay.
Man. Well, I guess I could say.
Oh, Madison didn't figure it out.
Wow.
In deep thought. You thought he was in deep thought.
Because he paused. He was like, and
Yep. He's still in deep thought. All right, Maddie, give a shout out to your channel and what you do on there.
Right here. Right.
There we go.
Oh no, I feel so bad.
Oh.
This right here. This is my YouTube channel name.
All right, shout it out. Say your channel name.
Madison.
Say your channel name, and then what kind of content you actually cover on there.
Madison Diane, and we have a little bit of everything on there for everyone. Some book reviews, some everyday life, some vlogs, commentary. Lapeef, take it away, man. You got cut off.
Yeah, I don't know if that.
Yeah, you got cut off a little bit there, but you were saying about the network. You're bringing together people.
Yeah. So, my apologies, man. You would think fiber would be better, man, but I'm just really disappointed in this fiber connection. But as I was saying, yeah, Lapeef Let's Talk. We have the Lapeef Network. We're doing a lot of great things over there. Courtney has a show, Kay has a show, different perspectives, and we also are looking for future people to be a part of that network. It won't be right away, but I got my eyes open, and we're just trying to bring something different to the YouTube platform. We want to entertain. There's a little drama at times. We also want to give a lot of value, but we're just trying to grow. And I appreciate all the content creators. Such as here. This is a great platform. I've been honored to be here, and I definitely appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
Wow, really appreciate that, man. Thank you. E-Black, shout out to your channel, man.
Well, I just started it. I literally did my first live on Monday. If you want to check it out, I really wish you would check it out. It's a very interesting conversation.
That's good. That's good, man.
Yeah. So other than that, just look me up, E-Black TV on most platforms. I got a couple of things in it working. And like and subscribe. I'm not good at this yet. I'm not good at asking for people to look me up. It's like so in the future, if you want to deal with me and my arrogant ass, look me up.
To anyone watching, we're gonna train him how to shout out his YouTube channel next time. So
yeah,
it's all right. Melissa.
Okay, so I'm revamping my whole entire social media presence, as Clement knows.